Whatever it's called. All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m. And I'd like to call to order the Keizer Parks and Recreation Advisory Board Committee. Don has taken the role. We have a couple people absent, looks like just one absent. And then our city council liaison is not here. Second item of business would be the approval or consideration of the June 2024 minutes. Is there any comments on the minutes? If not, we'll take a motion to approve as presented, please.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by Lisa and a second by Mike. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously with one absent. All right, appearance of interested citizens. Peggy, got anything for us tonight? No? All right, ladies, Jackie, anything for us tonight?
Only thing I have is a flyer at the.
Well, come and talk about it. Why don't you come up to the table and tell us all the good things? I'm just gonna pick on you because you're here, Tammy. And when you come forward, you know the drill, please state your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 21 seconds. I'm kidding. Take as long as you need. And just for the record, we have a special guest star, two special guest stars tonight. Mayor Kathy Clark and City Manager Adam Brown have joined. Adam might just be sitting in the audience, which is great. Tammy, floor is yours.
All right, Tammy Kunz, Keizer. Everybody has a flyer for Fun Friday. It'll be July 19th at St. Edward Church, in Keizer. I hope everybody has a chance to attend, because I would really like to have it at a park in my area next year. Claggett is my choice. We have 37 partners this year bringing resources and stuff to the community. So it'll be lots of fun.
So Tammy, who's invited to this? Everybody?
Yep.
So you don't have to be just in the Kennedy Neighborhood Family
Nope.
Council? No? And
It is open and posted on, I think, all my media feeds. But it is open to everybody. If you look on my page, you'll see that Northgate is this Friday. Ours is July 19th, and Highland Neighborhood Family Council is doing theirs the week after. I think it's the 21st, whatever the following Friday is.
And so I'm gonna ask you, because you're on the spot. We have CBEL, CBEL as a collaborative. We like acronyms, but what does that mean? What is CBEL?
Community Business Education.
L.
It's collaborative leaders for education leaders.
Leadership.
Great.
Community Business Education Leadership.
And they are one of our sponsors for making this event come forward.
Great. Any other questions or comments from the board?
But it's open to everybody.
Madam Mayor?
You want to talk about September 3rd, since people are marking their calendars?
September 3rd, we have a community cafe. It'll be here in the Iris Room. We have a guest speaker. And I have 7 community partners lined up to bring resources. I'm still hearing from others more and more each day. Everybody's invited. I would love for everybody to be able to come and represent, maybe share a little bit about what everybody does when they're not here. So it'll be a collaboration with all the neighborhood associations and all the neighborhood family councils.
Wow. Sounds fun.
And I'll send on the info.
Yeah, if you could, and then Dawn can get it to us. That way, if there's anybody here that wants to participate, you can definitely do that.
Perfect.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
Uh-huh.
Glad to see you. Mr. Brown, is there anything you want to bring up, or are you here for a later update?
Just here because I haven't been in a while.
Fair enough. All right. Any other? No? Okay. So new old business, we got our parks reports. Let's start off. We're going to shuffle it up and start with Tanya. I'm just kidding. I don't want to screw up the agenda. Dawn worked very hard to prepare this.
I was ready to roll. I thought Lisa might go first. Okay, so I visited Ryan J. Hill Park over the weekend. It looks great, clean, which usually after the weekend, it usually has a lot of trash because with the heat, there wasn't. It looked fantastic. I still am interested in what we're doing with that water thing, or the feature that's not really doing anything. And I'm hopeful that maybe with city council, talking a little bit about the Gold Star.
The monument, yeah.
The monument, and possibly, I think that would make that park just top notch. It's already looking great, but that would be awesome. So, there's my plug for that. And then I checked out, Willamette Manor, beautiful, quiet. Everything looks great. There's some logs down under some of the trees, like just kind of old logs laying down in certain areas. I don't know what that was from. Didn't look like they were from the trees. They were like under the small saplings that were growing, but that was the only thing that I noticed that was out of place. Everything else looked great. Nothing to report.
Great. All right. Gwen, Claggett, and Clear Lake, are we spongy?
We are not spongy.
Okay.
Claggett Creek looks great, except for briquettes by one of the picnic tables on the Dearborn side near the bathrooms. There's a pile of briquettes there that somebody's been burning. And then, otherwise it looks really good. And then, Clear Lake looks good. It's, trees, a picnic table, and some grass right next to the Clear Lake School. So that looks good too. That's it.
All right. Mr. Loudon, Wallace House and Keizer Little League, please.
I apologize, I didn't get to see them.
You didn't get to see them?
I've been working out of town.
Well, good. I think that's the first time you've ever missed a Parks report. Congratulations? No? I mean, you've always got really good notes. I don't think I've been on this board with you for a long time. I don't think I've ever seen you miss a Parks report.
That's the only one.
Like, you actually missed a meeting and still sent an email on your Parks report, so I'm proud of you. Anybody got anything for Hidden Creek or Northridge, since the open position's not able to talk?
Hidden Creek looks great.
You found it?
I did.
Good.
It's on my map quest, and so I just go right to it.
All right. Lisa, Palmacia, Sunset, and of course Keizer Rapids, because, well, let's just be honest.
Well, I hate to steal Robert's thunder, but Palmacia looks fantastic. And that path that was put in a few years ago that was kind of leaning and was a little bit unsteady. Is it Austin who has been doing all that? Austin went in, like, it's wide, it's flat, it's got that, is it jute cloth?
Yep.
On the downward, so it's gonna keep that from eroding. It's beautiful, and I'm sure that Keizer Fire will be super happy because they'll be able to get their little ATV down there instead of having to walk down there if there's any small fires. The rest of Palmacia looks good as well. The apple trees are growing, the grapes are growing, the blackberries, boysenberries, raspberries, all of those things are growing nicely. And then Sunset Park always looks fabulous, always. But this week, when I was there, somebody had gone and hidden a whole bunch of tiny little rocks that had cut out pieces of fabric shaped like hearts, and then they're Mod Podged, so they were all over that park. So I took a whole bunch of pictures and I left them all there. But, so it's just nice when you go to a park and you find little bits of love for our city parks all over the place. Okay. Wallace House, I go because I have 4 little dogs and they like Wallace House. It looks great. The grass is taken care of. Anytime somebody has tagged that play structure, after the great big tagging event last month, this month, every time somebody hits a little tiny bit, like the guys are out there and it's gone. So it's super annoying that it happens. But you guys do I don't know. I'm sure other cities have good public works departments and parks departments, but we have the best, the absolute best.
Thank you.
Okay, and at Wallace House, they also have painted, all the parking lots, there are stripes. Only one question is there anything we can do to keep citizens that maybe are a little less aware of situations to not park right over the path? Because they think that that's a parking spot sometimes.
At Wallace
At
House?
Wallace?
Yes, at Wallace
Yeah,
House,
yeah.
you know, on the other side of that house, there's kind of a thicker. Yeah, because of the way it's striped, they think that that's a parking spot.
Oh, up front.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could look at hashing it out.
because it's just, people park there and
Yep.
then, then you give them, their car a look, because you have to walk around with your dogs. All right. Now, Keizer Rapids, does anybody have anything that they want to say about Keizer Rapids before I talk?
I do.
Okay, go.
All right, so been going down, looking at the new multi-use fields. One of the things that I'm observing, particularly earlier in the day, later in the evening, is that on the opposite side or the back side of the big toy where the new picnic shelters are, there's a lot of cars that choose to drive down in there to set up their little parties and stuff. And there was a Honda Civic that got stuck the last time I was out there. So 4 or 5 of this individual's best friends came out and helped them get it out. But I don't remember that we set that up as an off-road facility. And so my question is, similar to what we have over by the park or the caretaker's house over there, can we maybe see about trying to obtain some of those really large stones to put along Walsh or something? I know that's expense, but it's also one of those things like, maybe just in a future plan, if you come across and everybody's like, hey, I got a bunch of boulders to give away, maybe that's something you could look at. But my concern is, the reason I bring that up is I don't necessarily care that people drive on the grass, but there was kids that were running across and I watched this truck and the guy probably had quite a few, I'm gonna call them Capri Suns, but I doubt that's what they were, came barreling out of there and a kid was within about 5 feet of getting hit as they were crossing over to the dog park from by the big toy. So I just make that observation, and I wonder if whether or not we could. I'm going to say this because I don't, and I'm going to probably feel stupid. Is that striped across the way for a pedestrian path? No. Okay, so that might be something because there are a lot of people that cross over. Either they coming from the big toy to go to the dog park or vice versa, and that's not a clearly identified pedestrian crossing.
Correct. And
Is
there's
that on-
no actual pedestrian path that leads up to crossing the road either, so
That's right.
the original thought was don't put a pedestrian crossing there.
So, okay.
So we're not encouraging it, but
Because there's not really a walkable path along Walsh there. And that's by design because of stormwater and things like that mostly, right?
or just the way the park was built. I don't know that stormwater had much to do with it.
Yeah, I'm it raised a couple concerns. There was a lot of traffic and we haven't even started bringing in crowds for the sports yet. But with that, also, one of the things that was really fun was watching everybody dump their briquettes out in the grass towards the end of their parties at the evening. I saw 3 of those happen simultaneously over by the beach volleyball. And so I was really thankful that they decided to do that. I'm glad the grass is brown and could handle that. Being totally facetious, it was really annoying. I went over and had a conversation with them. And they dumped their Capri Suns out on it to help put them out, but
Jeez.
yeah. So I think this all boils down to personal accountability. I'm gonna rant on that a little bit, like, come in, use the parks, but if you trash them, like, you just go away, right? Like, people are just absolutely not respecting what's out there, and it's getting really frustrating. I was told to go mind my effing business because I had no right to tell them what they could and couldn't do in the parks, and I says, I wanna go show you a sign. And I walked them over and showed them the sign. They said, what is that? It's just guidelines. So it's a little bit frustrating, but
Yeah, very.
I appreciate the work you guys are doing. In fact, Councilor Kohler regretted he couldn't be here and he just wanted to reiterate his appreciation for all the hard work you guys do and the hard work of the board. And so I told him I would say that. I was going to say it at the end, but I'm going to say it now. But it is really frustrating. And I'm starting to look at Keizer Rapids with a Lisa eye. And, I haven't been seeing as much remnant of dog treats around. people have been doing a little bit better, particularly on the nature path, but it's still present. Still quite a bit of trash. And we've had a few urban nomads move in. I don't know if you've been noticing that, but there's out by the disc golf in the mornings, I've been seeing them escape out from by the pond and stuff like that.
We'll take another sweep.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there was one small fire that I caught and was able to get knocked out. I mean, it was very small. It was like not even the size that would fit in my hand, but it was still left over. And so I kicked over a bunch of dirt on it, and then I had some water that I was able to get on it, but yeah. Bob, did you have a hand up?
I do. So this briquette thing, do we need to make something where they put their hot coals in, or is this something that they just let them burn out and people don't realize that, so they're dumping it to be courteous, thinking the next people will use it? I'm not sure.
No, so they're bringing their own barbecues, which is
Oh.
which is
And
not
they're
allowed.
not allowed.
Oh, we don't
And-
have barbecues down there. I
No.
got you.
Not at
Okay,
Keizer
I
Rapids.
thought they were.
In the boating camping, I think there's a
No,
no,
there
not
isn't.
anymore. Or there, I thought there was, but
There was a
yeah,
fire
there-
pit ring there.
Right?
Yeah, there's a fire pit. That's
There
right.
isn't, because somebody off-roaded it. I mean, they
Right.
drove over it and it hasn't been replaced.
But people are bringing in their own charcoal barbecuers and then just dumping all the remains there.
So does like Willamette Mission Bottom Park and stuff, maybe it's a thing of the past. Remember they used to have the big iron
Yeah.
barbecue? Is that something that's no longer, or do we not do it down there because fire issues, or maybe?
We had them at Claggett,
We still do.
Yeah,
but we don't have them at Keizer Rapids
Not yet.
anywhere.
We could look at putting some in.
But they do.
But they get vandalized. They get vandalized like crazy. I mean, there's always trash in them.
Really?
Yeah.
They're pretty heavy duty too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Normally.
But there's always trash and stuff in there that, I mean, nobody's gonna wanna clean out and then throw some bratwurst on it, if we're just being honest. Like,
Yeah.
heaven knows what gets thrown into those pits before somebody uses them.
So maybe letting them bring their own barbecues, are they allowed to, is the
No.
question? Oh, not allowed at all.
Because there's no open fires according to the parks rule unless in specified areas, but that's basically limited to the barbecue pits we have at Claggett in designated areas, right? And I think can you bring gas?
You can bring a small gas
Right.
contained, but that's it.
Right,
I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but I can read it to you guys at the next meeting if you're curious.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably just not a good thing, is it?
Well,
There's no good thing about it, because it'll just be taken advantage of and people will make a mess. If you make a pit to put the barbecue hot coals in, then they'll become garbage pits and, yeah, it's unfortunate. So anyway, all right. Never
yeah, I
mind.
mean, it's a bizarre thing that occurs, but it is happening much more frequently, especially as the weather is getting nicer. And I am concerned particularly around the sand volleyball, because that grass is super dry. And it just takes one hot ember and that whole field's gonna, yeah. Tanya.
To piggyback on your comment about the parking or the roadway, is there an evaluation that's gonna be done of that space for, I mean, that's a long straightaway into Keizer Rapids. There's no speeds, bumps, or anything that kind of slows people down as they're driving in. And so knowing that there's a lot of traffic, is there speed bumps somewhere?
On Walsh
There
Way,
are, there are.
Yeah?
there are now speed bumps, yes.
There now are.
Yes,
When did that happen?
2 years ago.
On Walsh?
Yeah.
At what point?
We have 4 plus a stop sign and a
In the
speed
beginning of
hump.
the entry or past the park?
So there's one on both sides of the big toy dog park 4-way quad. There's one on both sides of that. So
Okay.
before and after, no matter which direction you're coming, you have to slow down right there.
Yeah,
And then there's another one, 2 more actually over the
Down.
hump, down towards the
Down,
boat ramp.
okay.
Right.
2 more, yeah.
okay, so I just wanted to.
For a
and then-
total of 4 plus the speed hump with the stop sign.
Okay, and are we doing any evaluation with all the new amenities? Is there gonna be anything else done there, or certain stop signs or anything like that that'll be put in at some point?
Nothing's planned right now, but I'd say once everything's constructed and starting to be
figure it out.
used, we could take another look at it.
Nice. And then the other thing I had about, Keizer Rapids is blue, framing around the rim of the sand volleyball
Yeah.
court is coming apart.
In some areas, yeah, I was actually just talking to some people down there this morning.
Yeah.
And they said they were gonna, it's some of the original group that helped construct it. They planned on volunteering to get 3 or 4 pieces put back together, and a lot of it looks like it's missing, but it's actually covered up with sand. So it's not as bad as it appears to be.
Okay,
But there is 3 pieces because a 4-wheel drive decided to go over there and drive all over it. He saw it happen. So, yeah, back to that again.
Well, I
Unfortunately.
think some of us have made enough comments. I'm sure Lisa probably has more. I think that's all to say, despite all those things that we're talking about, it's still a great park.
Oh,
and
yeah.
things are going well.
Yeah.
And so this isn't like a pick on Robert thing, but
Oh, absolutely not.
These are things that are out of your control.
Right.
yeah.
And the only thing that I have is one thing this discussion has made me feel a little better because I see little piles of burned briquettes. And I think that people have them on the ground and are actually using those to cook or do whatever. But to have somebody dumping them out, which is still horrible, at least it's not somebody pouring unlit briquettes on the ground right next to all the vegetation and lighting them, which I
Yeah.
see piles of them all over in the forest. It's crazy. It makes me very, very nervous. The amphitheater looks fantastic. All the painted, ADA stuff, the seating, all of that looks great. The one thing that people, have mentioned, I'll say that politely, is they don't know when is the concert? Who's gonna be here? It's always been posted before. It's always, we see flyers. And so there's no, it's like, well, go online. They're like, I went online and there's nothing. It's just a form to sign up to use the amphitheater. And I looked and the old website that was for concerts is not even, it's up for sale again. The Rotary website is up for sale. And on the Keizer City page, it just has how to use it. It doesn't say anything that I could easily Google on when the concerts are coming on the city page.
Yeah, Kaiser Chamber and the Record doing some of it.
I just
I
wish
feel
we-
like, I thought the city put out a post on that though.
They may have put out a
I see
post.
recently that they hadn't, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that I didn't memorize it.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen, it used to be that we would get, that's not me, mine's on silent. That we would, get.
Yeah, we didn't approve, we
things,
didn't,
and
we
so
didn't approve the bands
we
like
didn't
we
approve
have in
any
the past,
bands,
but.
so we haven't seen a ton to reinforce, it starts on this date, so
Right.
there's that. And that's about it.
I have something to add. If
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So I went around Keizer Rapids a few days ago, and I basically made a kind of a full loop of the park. I didn't see anything that was like vandalism or people intentionally causing harm to the vegetation or the surrounding area. I did see a few signs, including the poison oak sign that's at the junction right as you're about to go in the forest. It's in rather bad condition, to say the least. It's in fact,
There's lichens on it.
yeah, the picture of the plant isn't visible, and if we're trying to improve safety, then that's not gonna go well. Mr. Johnson, I don't know what how much it would cost to get a replacement or anything that's needed for the sign itself, but maybe it's something to think about. I saw that the turf fields are being put in, so that's good. I haven't been there since that construction started. I was very surprised. I just came out the road and like, oh my gosh, there's so much here. Where is the location of the pickleball courts? Because I didn't find them.
So, you know where the sand volleyball courts are at?
Yes.
So the pickleball will be built just to the north of those sand volleyball courts.
Oh, okay.
Between there and the dog park parking lot.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. That
welcome.
clears some stuff up. That's pretty much all I have. The blackberries along the sides of the path weren't really invading the paths themselves, so that's nice to see. Occasionally, a few times when I went there were paths that were rather overgrown by the blackberries, and I really hate going through them. Yeah, that's all I really have to say.
That's a good report. If you're interested, who's got Wallace House? That's you? No, it's David. If you're interested in checking out Wallace House, are you familiar with that park?
I've been there a few times. I know where it is, yes.
Okay. So I've done a lot of projects down there. It's David Loudon's a sign park, but if you ever wanted to go down there, I like your attention to detail. I'd love to get a fresh eye. And so if you'd like to go down, I'd be happy to meet you down there on a weekend and just have you walk through, take your notes. And I'm just gonna be quiet. I'll show you where some of the things are that we've done. But I think it'd be really cool to get your perspective on that and maybe where you see some potential projects moving forward.
Yes, I'll plan that sometime before next meeting.
Sounds good. And we could ask Mr. Loudon to go with us since it's his park if he wants to. He likes that park. You've been down there playing with us.
Yes.
Yeah. But cool. Anything else on Keizer Rapids or any other parks? This has been a good discussion. All right. Turf update, staff report.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. We are watching them right now finish, I'll say, putting in the infill on the eastern field. So I was down there this morning. They have these really cool sweeper machines and all the turf's been laid. And they've put a lot of rubber down and they just kind of keep going over it and re-sweeping it and re-grooming it, getting it just perfect. It's amazing. It looks perfect from here, but if you walk out on it, you're like, okay, I see what you guys are doing.
Nice.
And then at the same time, on the western field, they are finishing the gravel grading, just getting it very precise. And I mean, it's amazing how precise it is, in preparation for them to switch over and start doing the turf on that side. Also, I saw Highway Field down there today blowing in a lot of mulch on the southern side of the fields between there and the Big Toy parking lot. They're starting to mulch over the top of the dirt work and through the swale, trying to prep for seed. So it's really starting to take shape. That's what I have on that. We did experience a rather large amount of fireworks being lit off at Keizer Rapids over the 4th of July. Picked up about 5 garbage bags full of leftover remnants. Thank goodness the park didn't catch on fire, not that I'm aware of. But that's by far the heaviest amount of fireworks we've ever seen lit off down there. I think the Big Toy the boat ramp parking lot was the prime show for the evening. It's kind of crazy, to be honest with you. Wallace House Park, I am planning on having that mowed here at the end of the week. We have a contractor that does some rough mowing for us. We've had our tractor down there a few times with the flail, but it just needs kind of that once over to keep the fire danger down. Some of the reed canary grass is 6 feet tall over the last little heat wave. It grows really fast. And so we're going to go in there and get that just kind of at bay. So that Keizer fire, if something happens, is not chasing something that's taking off extremely rapid. They do have a nice access road down there now. So, trying to work with them on keeping access to our parks, both Wallace, now Palmacia, they have a trail they can go down with their side by side. And Keizer Rapids also out along the gravel bar. We've walked that with their team multiple times, making sure they all have access out there and they know the route to go to get to something, because that's where we've actually had, 4 probably fires over the last 5 years. So trying to stay on top of things like that. We also had a section of fence over the holiday weekend hit between Keizer Rapids Park and Knife River Rock Quarry. Car was down there squirreling around, knocked the fence down for 60 feet. It's kind of a field fence that keeps people from traveling into the rock quarry. That thing's been hit I don't know how many times, and we have rocks in front of it in many areas, but certain types of vehicles just don't seem to really care. Or they had too many Capri Suns.
Too many Capri Suns.
I don't know. So we just kind of show up Monday and scratch our heads and start fixing stuff. I think that's all I had. Any other questions for me?
Is there anything we can do to slow people down on that road?
Ban
Leave
Capri
the
Sun.
potholes? I don't know.
Well, I mean, even with the potholes, because I don't usually drive to Keizer Rapids. I walk there, so
Yeah.
I don't see a lot. But when I'm in the disc golf forest, people go barreling down
Yeah.
that.
I added a speed bump at the very top, at the end of the Shimala, where the asphalt
Yeah.
basically comes to an end.
Right.
We put in a speed bump last year there and painted it yellow, which slows them down going over the initial,
Right.
drop onto the gravel, but then there's nothing keeping them from accelerating past that. A lot of these, it's just kids being ridiculous, I think.
Okay. We should ban them.
Ban
Kids.
them. No.
Okay, I'm joking. I'm sorry, I'm joking. He's like, I'm right here.
I am right here.
You're the, yeah, no, you're the good kind of kid. I like you, Liam.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, Counselor Kohler's not here, but we have Mayor Clark here. Is there anything you want to tell us about? Anything exciting going on at the council?
Thank you very much, Chair, and members of the committee. So I was able to be here tonight while Councilor Kohler is on vacation. Just a couple of things. Thanks for the update on the fireworks. The 4th was particularly loud with both legal and illegal fireworks. We do have the ordinance that the City Council passed in 2022. There's still a lot of education going on. I really appreciated Chief Copeland putting 2 additional patrols on for the 4th. We now have, with this ordinance, it is now enforceable. So some people may be finding out that life isn't the way it used to be. And we'll have to keep educating on that. Now we know to send a patrol down to the boat ramp. On the parks cameras, that was a project that was approved by the City Council through the budget process. So that is moving forward. 6 parks will be getting cameras in this current fiscal year. So watch for that. That's going to be very helpful. People have been asking for it for years, and I'm really excited to see what that's going to do to help with curbing some of the graffiti and other incidents. Also want to join everybody in thanks to all the public works staff that every time somebody tags something, their swoop on it, it is gone. We want to make it very clear that anybody thinks that tagging gives them some sort of ownership or that we're going to just knuckle under and say, oh yeah, you can have it. Not a chance. This belongs to all of us and we're going to enjoy it without their little signature on it. That's not going to stay.
May I ask a question on the cameras?
Sure.
So it's enforceable through ordinance. I'm assuming that'll be developed, right? In terms of like any damages that happen at parks. Does that stay local in terms of like the jurisdictional authority over it? Like, so I guess what's the remedy? So somebody goes up, they tag a part of a park's facility. It's caught on camera. They're easily identifiable. They cop to it, whatever. What does that look like in terms of enforcement and actual applicability of the crime? Like, what's the remedy for the
So,
city?
yeah, we will be developing the ordinances that go with that. Also, it really depends on if it's an adult or a minor.
Right.
So the minors will be reported to Marion
Pure
County.
court.
Yeah, Pure Court. And just as a little side note, we had a fantastic presentation last night from the Pure Court Director on what that looks like now, and really encourage people to check out their social media, which they're finally getting back up and running, and help spread the word about that great program. So part of this will be developed over time, but I believe, and as I'm just speaking from my point of view, that this will be based on local. Much
Sure.
like the fireworks, when we tried to use state statute, it was completely ineffective and completely unusable. And finally, in '22, we were able to make a difference on that. So whatever we develop, this will be something that will apply here locally, that will give police tools to educate. And if you insist on not being educatable, you'll get that ticket that goes with it. And you can come talk to Judge Myers, which I will come and bring my popcorn.
That's our judge here for Keizer.
That's our municipal judge, and he's fantastic.
And I guess I'm just gonna ask a follow-up question if I may, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
So you have potentially 2 authorities dealing with presumptive fines. You have the enforcement arm, so there's gonna be a piece that potentially goes to the PD, but then you have the actual physical damage potentially done to parks. And so I guess it's just, it'd be really curious to see how we balance that in terms of like, how that goes. I mean, if there's $500 with the damages, but $200 has to go to the enforcement side to actually deal with that piece of it for the ticket and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that's I just want to think about that a little bit as we're sort of developing those fines and make sure that we're covering the administrative function of the enforcement piece of it, but also we're covering the actual damages done to the parks. Because what I don't want to do is set up a scenario where it's like, we're really cool doing a bunch of tickets, but it's actually covering the damages done by whatever happens in our parks. And so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm just saying it for the record, I guess.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit because I think it's highly unlikely that fines collected will cover the damages. Right
Right.
now, we are absorbing those costs in our maintenance budget for our parks.
Okay.
So what this will do is, the goal is compliance and reduction in incidents.
Okay.
So that's where we're going to have the savings for responding to these incidents. There will be cost recovery in terms of the administration portion of whatever ticketing, and so forth. I think that's what we can do, but we also have a very strict limit on the dollar amount.
Right.
I remember several times, in my career where somebody says, let's just make it a huge fine and we're just gonna throw the book at them and so forth. And then we're reminded by our city attorney, statutorily, your limit is $500. Okay. It's not enough. And as irritated as we are, I agree, but we do have that statutory limit. So really the objective is to reduce the number of incidents, which right then will result in cost savings. And then other proactive engineering, like we were talking about some additional rocks. I remember when we put in Keizer Rapids, having put in those big boulders on the north end, right on Chemawa, because we had these dingwas that thought that was a great place to go running their vehicles, make all sorts of ruts and creates all sorts of damage as well. So, and Wallace House Park, as we know, as many times people have gone freewheeling through there.
And then one more follow-up thought process, and I'm not trying to be presumptive and say that I know anything about processes, but my guess is if we're gonna add this as a function of the parks rules, particularly if it's a fine, because we do have fines in the parks rules, if it's gonna be a general reopener, we might wanna talk about, at the same time, our lights and what that's gonna do to our overall hours. So maybe we only have to open up the parks rules once, so it doesn't have to go back and forth to council for multiple iterations. So just throwing that out there, trying to create some efficiencies for legal staff and Adam and Robert and everybody else. So try to hit as much in one sort of deal as we can. So just a little thought there.
Well, if we can, but we're also not adverse to, if we have to come back a few months later and fix something, we'll go ahead and do that, because
Yeah.
we oftentimes will try to get as much right the first shot, but this is a process. It is the practice of civics, not the perfection of civics. So we're going to have to continue to tweak this as we go along. And this is a new system
Right.
for our park. So there's going to be a learning curve there as well. And I expect that we're going to continue to make adjustments as we learn from our own experiences on what works here.
That's a great point.
So I think that that's going to be a help for us. Excuse me. The other thing is, dealing with the recent heat, which is today should be the last day of this particular heat wave as we come back down into the 90s and upper 80s and so forth, which will be great for everybody. Really appreciate the attention to keeping things mowed. Really want to encourage people to, anything that has, for smoking, briquettes, anything. I talked to the city manager as this heat wave began to talk to Public Works. There have been times where we have posted that there are no cooking fires at all in any of the parks during incident timeframes like this. So something that we do watch to try to get the word out to discourage people from accidentally lighting the place on fire, which would really make it unpleasant for us to use. On the plus side, we've got events coming up down at the park. The concert series will begin on July 20th and run all the way through every Saturday night. We will have concerts at the park, at the amphitheater, all but one of those nights through August 31st.
Wow.
So Rhythm and Business will kick things off on the 20th. The one night we don't have a concert at the amphitheater. That's because it's going to be Keizer Fest at the big tent. But we've got a great lineup, Rhythm Business and JFK, a couple of our big headliners, Johnny Wheels, and then there's, I think, 3 other bands. I can't get them off the top of my head, but
Stevie's Breakfast.
yes.
There.
So it's going to be a fantastic lineup for the summer. Thank you to Uptown Music, Keizer Chamber of Commerce and the rec for putting this program together collaboratively. That's how Keizer get things done, and it's gonna be a lot of fun down at the amphitheater. Food trucks will be down there for your dining pleasure. And we invite people down to the Keizer Rotary Amphitheater this summer, starting July 20th.
Nice. Cool.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You bet.
Glad to have you here. All right, other business. So, we have the Long Range Planning Task Force in November. Do we want to reschedule or just cancel November's meeting?
Well, can we make a motion and then discuss it? And then
You can
have
do
the
whatever you
motion
want.
die if there's no second?
By all means.
All right, well, I move that we let the Long Range Planning Task Force have our November 12th, and then we just enjoy the holidays and come back in December. That's my motion.
I mean, you could just say cancel the November meeting, but do
No, I like
Yours is
the-
much
I-
more like
Yeah,
that,
no,
okay.
I like the enjoying,
All
yeah,
right.
that's all on motion.
we have a second on that?
Second,
Second from Gwen?
Second.
All right.
second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. Well, that was simple.
Wow.
Okay, Gold Star Memorial. So, Madam Mayor, I think, who did I ask? Dawn sent us an email. So are we still in just a little bit of a sort of, where are we at? Are we good? Can we move forward? Like, what's the council's position on this? Because what I understood was, I think that the discussion that went to council in the last update I heard, go ahead, sorry, I'm gonna shut up. Robert, go.
Robert has something.
So, staff would like to know
What's that?
if there is a preferred location. And I was able to have a conversation with Shauna after last month's meeting.
Okay,
Just kind of discuss a little more details. And as Tanya said earlier, she would prefer it to go in the dead center of the park where that old broke down fountain is at.
Get rid of the.
So.
oh, the air fountain, yeah.
The air fountain,
Yeah, okay.
the dry creek bed, we'll call it. That does involve removing a giant sequoia tree. But I have extreme concerns if that giant sequoia tree stays there long-term, that it will
Right.
start buckling all of our concrete in that entire area. Because the root base tends to just get wider and wider and wider. And the day I saw that tree planted there, I go, whoa, that's probably not the right tree to put there, but, you know, it is what it is. But now, so staff would like to know if the Parks Board has recommendations or could come to an agreement possibly on the location that the memorial could be placed in the park.
So, question, what is the significance of the fountain? Who did it? Do we owe something? Because what I don't want to have happen is that we're dishonoring the work done by somebody in the past, right?
Great thought.
I do not know of any significance to that fountain other than it was just part of the original landscape, as far as I've been ever told.
So we're not going to find out it's like Uncle Jim's best friend's neighbor's
There's no memorial
cousin.
plaques, there's no dedicated trees,
Okay.
in that center island.
Because I know volunteers mostly built it. I think Jerry Nutbrock was part of it.
I do
and there was
believe
a
that
bunch
is
of-
correct.
It was a Keizer done thing. So we really make sure that we're doing our due diligence so we don't accidentally like
Disrespect.
disrespect somebody's work because we've been down that path before.
Yes.
That aside, I think it's only like 150,000. Do you remember, Madam Mayor, to move a tree? What was it about 2017? I'm making a joke.
It was about 300,000.
Yeah.
That was the capital.
The question is, I mean, if you find an arborist that'll actually pay you for that wood, there might be something of value to get out of that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it makes sense if you're worried about concrete and stuff like that.
I am.
Yeah. You guys
I
are the
think that
experts.
tree will cause us damage in the next 20 years.
I mean, my reasonable person standing on this is just Matt Lawyer speaking. I think you take out an existing amenity that's really doing a great job. It looks pretty, but there's no water. It's never gonna be water again. And make it work. I mean, if we killed two birds with one stone, you get rid of something that doesn't work, if it's appropriate to do that. And then we, pivot and make it into something special. Because it's already got power there, which is a key part of it, right?
Correct. There's power ran into the middle of that island.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's just my thought.
Which they did want power for lighting around the memorial.
That's
So
just my
There's
thought,
no rerunning power.
Right.
Bob, what do you think? You know what I'm talking about? You weren't here.
I say we make a motion to cut that giant sequoia down because it will get huge.
Yeah.
So just on that alone.
Bob just wants to cut the tree
Nothing else
down.
is going on.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
gigantic and they
Yeah.
grow like weeds.
And it would have been great if there wasn't, if the property would have been created with a little bit more space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would have been beautiful, but because you put all that cement and everything around, you're right,
Mhm.
it's gonna just eat it up.
You could replace it with a different tree that doesn't grow as fast or has the root bound that.
There's an approved
giant
tree.
squirrels
A
Mhm.
memorial tree.
A memorial
Put them
tree.
in unit, yeah.
A sequoia memorial tree.
The veterans
Yeah.
thing.
Madam Mayor.
I can just see Lisa down there cringing. I said, cut down that tree.
And I said plant a memorial, sequoia memorial tree.
It
in
is,
that
it's gonna be a
spot.
2x4. Remember that tree.
Right?
It'll be pressure treated.
Sorry, this board's gotten completely out of control, Madam Mayor, since,
How big
Yeah.
is the tree right now?
20 feet.
Oh.
It's not huge yet, but
Detroit
they grow
used to do a
fast.
Christmas tree, but it's probably too big to.
Yeah.
20 feet tall. Oh, it's just a baby.
all right, Madam Mayor.
I did have a question. We have kiosks there for the Marie Dorian and the Japanese
Right.
memorial for the families that suffer from internment. So I'm trying to remember how that's gonna be relative to that, and as we're doing the design, to make sure that we actually create a space that both, puts in the Gold Star Memorial, but also helps lead through the other kiosks we have out there. And if additional kiosks are something in our future, I know we don't, currently have a Keizer Points of Interest Committee, but if there's something that would go naturally there to add another one and balance out that, the design.
Yeah.
I think that could be really pretty cool. So maybe keep that in mind as we're looking at the final design. So the direction from council was to come to you as the Parks Board. Are there any concerns? Are there any objections? Are there suggestions on making this successful? That is what I understood that we on council wanted to hear from you. That's why this was sent to you
Okay.
for your input, because you are integrally involved in the design, maintenance, and improvement of our parks. So your feedback is very important on this project. Thank you.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, and the only thing that I regret now is we're too late in the year to try to put some grant funding towards it for this fiscal year, but potentially next fiscal year we can, especially if we start to gain some momentum, right? Yeah. I mean, I think, so I'm gonna sort of take off my Parks Board hat and put on my Rotary hat. So my Rotary group, Keizer Rotary Satellite Club, has heard the issue about the long-term maintenance. And, we're at least, as of right now with the current club members, ready to help support that ongoing maintenance, to the degree necessary. Probably changing light bulbs, cleaning up, tidying up, whatever like that. But we can obviously work through that as it moves forward. But, that was a question that was left when we left last meeting, was how that looks in terms of the ongoing maintenance, because there's no agreement for that beyond. And it's also not a current Parks amenity. So I think if we can bring in a group to help do that, at least for the first few years, I think it's appropriate, but I just wanted to close the loop on that particular thing. I mean, I just actually got an email from Tim last night. He's super excited. Tim's one of the organizers that came in with Shauna to do the presentation and everything. Really at this point, they're ready to start raising money. I think they've gotten a little bit raised so far, but I think they're waiting for like a go from us to really start pushing the thing forward. It's $150,000 to have this built. My guess is, Robert and Adam, can we accomplish the demo of the fountain with volunteer work, or do we have to contract it?
I think if you had the right group of volunteers, absolutely.
Great.
I've seen similar projects done. Actually, I've seen larger projects done by volunteers, so.
Okay,
should be
we'll
no
talk.
problem.
We'll get people together. I know Bob likes swinging hammers. He's very good.
I'm on it.
But I think if that ends up being the appropriate place, we've heard from, Bob says get rid of the tree. I said, let's put it there. Where are the rest of us at on this? Because I think we want to hear consensus from the board.
I just want to ask real quick, my understanding from the Gold Star people speaking last month was that they would come with the support to take care of the monument when it's put in. It sounds like they'll elicit support, whether it's from Elks or some of the other
Yeah.
places around, so
Yeah.
they'll actually have that already
Well, and that's where the Rotary
built into
group
that.
said we'd be
And the
willing to
Rotary
help
help
out
with
with
that
that, yeah.
also, okay.
Yep. David, what do you think? Get rid of the fountain, put it there?
Absolutely, get rid of the fountain.
Mike,
Yeah, I'm ready to get rid of the fountain and put that there, move in that direction,
tired of moving the hot air in there, I got it.
yeah.
Tanya?
I don't think it ever
I feel like I'm a broken record. I've said get rid of that fountain for a long time.
I actually really want to see the fountain function again, just because I know it would annoy Robert, but in the spirit of being cooperative,
He gave me that same look when I was saying, let's get it functionable, and then I was like, forget it. Let's get rid of the fountain.
I asked him one time during the parks tour, hey, what does it get to get this thing functioning? He looks at me and he goes, don't.
Yeah, right.
It's like, the only time I've ever gotten only one word from Robert was don't. Lisa?
Well, this park was one of my first parks that when I first started on the park board, and the very first time I visited, I believe I asked Robert, it's like, so,
Yeah.
does the fountain work? Is it just like, is it too hot right now or too cold? He's like, no. Okay.
And you can ask
He
this
goes,
question
and
a
then I
lot.
looked at him, he's like, it will never work again.
I think I
So-
saw it functional once, like a long time ago.
Anyway, I think that's fabulous. I mean, this Gold Star Memorial would bring so much to Keizer. I mean, we need one in the state, and we're Keizer. We should have it here. So it'll bring people into our parks and make them enjoy our parks more. So I think do it.
Great. Gwen?
I agree with everybody.
All right. Mr. Stitt, just for the sake of being inclusive to everybody on the dais here.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I just have one question about the fountain.
Uh-oh.
Do we know how long it has not been working for?
The day after
It's
it opened.
lifetime, yes.
Oh, wow.
My guess off memory,
least the last
because I
14 years.
I worked here when it first opened, and I also worked here when it quit working for the 40th time. But it's been broke down, not functioning,
At least 10
in
years.
need of repair for at least 10 years,
Yeah.
maybe
Wow.
12.
And a lot of the
Okay.
parts are obsolete. You can't get to them. You can't even get to the space, like.
It's more than that. It's the overall just design of it. You'd actually have to completely excavate out the entire fountain and start over.
Right.
My goodness.
The-
Okay.
The big problem, just so everybody knows, where the pump is located, it's actually down in a vault, and that's a confined space. So every single time somebody has to go into that confined space, we have to get a team of public works or parks people and set up a confined space work crew that all has training, and you actually have to put a harness on.
Yep.
You have to have climbing gear, basically. You have to have a retrieval system. You have to have an oxygen sensor. And it's like you're crawling into the sewer system, basically, is what you're treating that like.
Wow.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I can see.
And the fountain leaks really bad down into that vault. And if the sump pump quits working, or if you have any power failures, the vault floods, which then kills the main effects pump, because those are not designed to go underwater, and then you get to start over. And those are very costly.
I see.
So there's some extreme problems with the overall design of, it was a good attempt, but it just,
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
think, this might be the last time you have to tell
it
that
might
story.
be, because someday it won't be there to talk about.
I think that's pretty exciting.
I remember when there was
What do
a
we think about the
fountain,
tree then?
It's gonna have to go.
Bob wants to cut it down.
For long term, I mean, it's just gonna cause chaos.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
at 20 feet, I mean, it's at the point where it's manageable now. I mean, if it would, for some reason, when you said giant sequoia, I'm thinking like some massive thing, you could drive a Volkswagen through, which I know
Well, it will
is,
be in 5 years.
yeah.
But we can plant something in memory of it in another park.
A stick, I'm telling you, a 2x4.
I've planted giant sequoias in many parks,
See, there you go.
just
boom.
not that park.
Just not that one.
I mean, we just make a 2x4 out of it and we stick it right there and that's part of the feng shui of the park.
We could plant a giant sequoia in a different park and have a memorial plaque for the Ryan J. Hill.
You
On the
you get the
2x4.
tree, I'll dig the hole.
All right,
I'll dig
On the
even
2x4.
deeper hole than we're doing now. Okay, so
Use it for firewood.
So it sounds like right now we have consensus to explore removal of the fountain and the tree. And we also have at least the potential opportunity to do a volunteer effort to get rid of the fountain. And I think that that's appropriate considering this is not a project that was on the parks list, at least in the next 3 to 5 years. So if we can minimize or completely eliminate any need, my guess is at a minimum, we might need maybe like a debris bin or something to put all that stuff in. I'm not sure, but we can work out the details of that later on, but
Are there some of the great big, are there boulders there? I don't remember.
Yeah,
there are
you need to
boulders.
remove and fill.
can we take those boulders and put them in Keizer Rapids?
Yeah, there's boulders there, aren't there?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Any of the
Okay.
landscape boulders that are there can be
Yeah.
reused, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd probably be the first thing to be removed, load on a flatbed and haul it somewhere we could use them.
Okay.
So we can work through those. I mean, we got a little bit of time. Chances are construction season wouldn't happen until 25 anyways at the earliest. So we
Yeah.
got some time to work through that. So, okay, we're getting rid of the fountain. Once we confirm there's no specific dedication or memorial or something that's gonna come back and haunt us.
Yeah, I can double
That
check.
might be a phone a friend. Debbie probably remembers all that if she's still answering the phone. Well, Dawn, you've been around for a long time. You can look it up. And then we're getting rid of the tree. What else? Is there any, I like the mayor's suggestion of making sure that we're looking at the design so that it flows, so that we're,
Cohesively.
thank you, with the existing, stuff that's down there for the other memorial and stuff like that. But, I'm not a design person. My stick figures look like dogs. My dog looks like trains. So, I'm not gonna draw it.
I second that motion.
Do we need a motion or consensus? What do you want?
I'm seconding the not drawing.
Here, at the end of the day, here's what I really, and I'm just gonna be selfish, here's what I really want. I really wanna tell Shauna and Tim, go forth, be brilliant, come back with 150 grand and a plan.
Because
Right.
we're gonna tear out the fountain.
Cause we're ready to move forward on this. Is that, are we north and south on this? Everybody's
So-
agreed?
But do we need, I mean, isn't it city council who should be able to tell them that?
Well, yeah, true. Yes,
Instead
ma'am.
of us, so.
So if I might suggest that what you have just said be a recommendation to city council to direct staff to move forward with the project.
Cause we had the full recommendation to approve the project, recommended approval at the last meeting.
Okay.
It was a formal motion. We can redo the motion if that's what you all want. I'm happy to.
No, and if this is, this can be included as the report comes back to city council, that these are the recommendations on how this can move forward, and then it's gonna be up to Mr. Brown, Mr. Johnson, staff to work on the agreement with the Gold Star Memorial team for the formal agreement to allow them to go get that money, because they have to have the, something in writing that they have a location.
Right.
So that goes back to staff to craft that.
Okay.
Do we need a motion at this point, or are we good?
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yay.
All right, well, when we do the parks report, we'll just make sure to add on that. That's awesome. I mean, this is gonna be a big deal. So thank you for helping clarify that. I was a little bit confused on sort of exactly how we were gonna proceed with that. So I'm glad we got through that. It was a good conversation. Bob says cut down the tree. I'm gonna try to squeeze that in at least one more time tonight. Two other things under, other, so that we had the cricket gentleman come last Parks meeting. I think what I told them was I was gonna forward them on to Hirsch. Hirsch is the chair of the Marion County Parks Board, and so I did. I haven't heard anything back from Hirsch. Now, total transparency, I gave it to Hirsch today because I forgot about it. Life happened, and I was like, oh, hey, I was supposed to give Hirsch something. So I sent him that email today, but I also just got that email. Adam, you were on it. It was like 2 weeks ago, maybe, when they finally responded back to us. But we'll see if Hirsch can work some magic there. And then lastly, Parks Tour. Are we doing that in September, August? Do we want to talk about potential dates? What are we looking at?
I don't know.
I feel like it's
September.
September, isn't it?
It's the second Monday.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, it's the second Monday in September is the night of
session,
this, the city council work session.
Okay.
September 9th.
So we're gonna talk, do we want to talk parks now or in August? Do you have it teed up for August on?
Or at least just be thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think the easy one is gonna potentially be Keizer Rapids with the new soccer fields or the multi-use fields, because those will be done hopefully in August, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And then pickleball. So, okay. Any others?
Anyone else?
Oh, Public Works Day. This was awesome.
Oh,
That was
It
so
was
much fun. You
great.
guys did an amazing event. Thank you for copying most of my work and making it your own. That's awesome. I'm kidding. No, if you didn't go to Public Works Day, it was brilliant. They had, the the whole entire path. They're lined with, different departments and stuff within Public Works. They had the trash folks out there. They had all kinds of different folks. It was a really, really, really cool event. Very well attended, so that was brilliant. So I'd love to try to just put a shout out for anybody that didn't get a chance to go to that. It's a Tuesday in June, kind of after Memorial Day, but before the 4th of July, and it was a lot of fun, and people should definitely go check it out. It was very, very much worth the time, so good job.
Thank you for putting on your chef hat.
Yes, sir. All right, I think that's, anybody else got anything else for the good of the order? Nope, all right, we will stand adjourned at 7 o'clock.
Who's
Very
showing up
good.
to the audience?